Hi everyone! Welcome to the Jayda and Stitches show, and welcome to a crochet quick fix refresher on our little rainy day indoor soft ball. This is a great little project to use up more of that super bulky weight size 6 yarn. I'm using some of that chenille blanket style yarn today. It makes a nice soft toy, perfect for playing indoors. Lots of indoor games you can make up with a ball like this. You need around 100 yards or 100 grams of a size 6 bulky weight yarn, and I'm just going to be splicing together some leftover bits that I've got, and I'll show you what that looks like as we get into the project. You're going to want a pair of scissors, a yarn needle, a clip or stitch marker is very helpful for this project. It'll help you keep track of the first stitch of each of your rows. You're definitely going to want some stuffing. You can use pillow stuffing, chopped up t-shirts, socks, whatever you might have lying around. Anything that makes your ball nice and soft and squishy. And the hook we're using is a size 8mm, also known as an L or an 11 in the US, a size 0 in the UK. And once you've got all that together, we can get started. We're going to begin by making a cinch circle. Working with bulky weight yarn can feel a little strange, so just take your time. And once you've chained one to secure your cinch circle, you're going to work 8 single crochet into your cinch circle. Once you've worked 8 single crochet into your cinch circle, grab that little short tail, pull it nice and tight, and that will cinch your circle shut. We're not going to be joining rows as we work. We're just going to be working directly into the first stitch of each row. That will continuously have us going in the round. If you want to mark the first stitch of each row after you've made it, you might find that helpful to keep track. So for row 2, we're going to work 2 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. And that first stitch can sometimes be a little tricky to get your hook into. There we go. You can work over your short tail or just leave it to the back. It will eventually end up on the inside of your ball, so you don't have to worry about weaving it in. So there's the first 2 single crochet of the row, and I'm going to mark the first one just so I know which is the first stitch of the row when I get back to it. For the rest of the row, you're going to work 2 single crochet into each stitch, and at the end of row 2, you'll have 16 stitches. That's 16 stitches at the end of row 2. There's my stitch marker indicating that I've worked all the way back around. That was the first stitch I worked in row 2. Now I'm going to work the first stitch of row 3 into it. For row 3, we are working an increasing pattern of 2 single crochet worked into the first stitch. And I'm just going to pause and mark that first stitch again. So 2 single crochet into the first stitch of the set, followed by 1 single crochet into the next stitch. So 2, 1, 2, 1 all the way around. 2 single crochet into the next stitch, 1 single crochet into the stitch after that. At the end of row 3, you'll have 24 stitches. That's 24 stitches at the end of row 3. There's my little stitch marker indicating that I've worked my way all the way back around. For row 4, we're still increasing. The new increase pattern is 2 single crochet into the first stitch of the set, followed by a single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, worked all the way around. So I'm just going to pause and I'm going to make sure that I mark my first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I already worked 4 stitches. That was the first stitch of row 4. I've marked it so I know where it is when I get all the way back around. And you're just going to continue with that little increase pattern. 2 single crochet into the first stitch of the set, followed by a single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. You'll have 32 stitches at the end of row 4. At the end of row 4, we have 32 stitches. For the next 4 rows, you're just going to single crochet in each stitch around. So you can remove your stitch marker, work the first stitch of row 5, and put your stitch marker back in place. This will just help keep track of where the first stitch of each row is, so you know where you are when you get back around. And you're just going to single crochet in every single stitch. So rows 5, 6, 7, and 8 are just straight single crochet. Here we are at the end of row 8. You should still have 32 stitches all the way around. And just in case you are running out of yarn and you're tying in another ball, like I said, it's a great scrap project. You just have to lay your two ends together and tie a knot like that. It doesn't have to be super fancy. You can just pull on those ends to make that knot as small as possible, and then when you get up to the knot, just tuck everything to the inside of the ball and it won't show. We are now going to begin decreasing. So for row 9, we're going to work a simple decrease, which is a single crochet 2 stitches together. So you pick up a loop in each of the next 2 stitches. So you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull back through everything. That is a decrease stitch. Then you're going to single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches as normal. And if you're still marking things with your stitch marker, you can mark that single crochet 2 together stitch, because that's the first stitch that we made in the row. And then you're going to repeat single crochet 2 stitches together, single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. And when you get to the end of row 9, you'll have 24 stitches all together. So here I am at the end of row 9. I'm down to 24 stitches. You can see where I knotted my yarns together. I've just tucked it to the inside. Makes for a beautiful, no trouble transition there. Great little scrap project. You can start stuffing your ball now. So you don't need to put too much stuffing into it. And you are going to be able to stuff it a little bit at the end of each of the next couple of rows. You can start though if you want, get sort of comfortable with a little bit in there, or you can wait until the end of the next row. It's entirely up to you. We are still decreasing, so I'm just going to take off my stitch marker for a second. We're going to begin each set with a decrease for row 10. So we're going to single crochet 2 stitches together, and then single crochet once into the next stitch. That's the little repeater pattern. I'm going to put my stitch marker back on so I know where I'm at. That's my stitch right there, first stitch of the row. And repeat. Single crochet 2 stitches together, single crochet into the next stitch once. You're going to repeat that all the way around, and when you get back to the beginning, you'll be down to 16 stitches, and then you're really going to want to start to stuff your little ball. At the end of row 10, you can pull up on your hook, make that loop a little bigger. You can take your stitch marker out for a second because you know you've finished your row, and then you can start to stuff your ball. You want to use little bits of stuffing. You want to make sure you get it all the way down there and that you're evenly stuffing the inside of your ball. Use as much stuffing as you need to until it comes up to just underneath the edge. We still have a couple more rows to crochet. For our next row, we're just going to single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around. So we're going to go from a 16 stitch count down to 8. Now you've got to sort of try and tuck your stuffing in as you work. So just take your time. As things get smaller, sometimes it gets a little trickier to crochet. So just take your time. Work 2 stitches together all the way around. There's my first stitch made. I'm going to mark it. We'll be down to 8 stitches at the end of this row, and then we can add a little more stuffing. We are now down to 8 stitches all the way around. You can remove your stitch marker. You won't need it again. If you feel your ball needs a little bit of extra stuffing, feel free to just squish a bit in there. You don't want your balls to be too squishy, but you also want them to sort of, when you squish them, to pop back out into a nice round ball shape. So as long as you sort of feel like when you squish it, it'll pop back up into a nice ball shape, then you've definitely got enough stuffing in there. I'm just going to stuff in a little bit more. There we go. All right. To close up that little opening, you're just going to continue to single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around that small little opening until it's so tight you can't work any more stitches into it. So that might be 2 or 3 more single crochet 2 together stitches. It depends on how big you feel your opening is, but you don't have to worry about getting it ridiculously small because we're also going to just cinch a little bit of that opening shut to make sure that none of your stuffing comes out. So that's probably enough. You can snip your yarn. You can just slip stitch through a post or into the next stitch just to fasten off. So you can be as messy as you want to here. Fasten off. Pull that nice and tight. Don't break your yarn. Then you've got yourself a nice little tidied off knot. You can now grab your yarn needle, thread up that tail, and if you do have a little bit of a space showing, just weave your tail through some of the stitches immediately next to that hole, and just keep kind of going around in a circle until it completely shuts. You don't want any of your stuffing to leak out. And once that's happened, you can weave your tail in through some of those stitches back and forth a few times. Especially if you're using this chenille yarn, it doesn't want to sort of undo itself too easily, so that's nice. You don't have to really worry about any additional knotting. And then you can just take the whole thing, stuff it into the body of the ball, and just wiggle your needle back and forth until the whole thing disappears. We hope you enjoyed this fun little crochet quick fix refresher on our rainy day indoor ball. Great little toy for soft, safe play inside. We will see you soon here on the Jayda InStitches show. Until then, stay safe, stay crafty, and have an awesome week. Bye, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Mr. InStitches here. Thank you for watching today. Here are some of our other videos you might be interested in. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.